Hey, ladies and gents, it's Zam back with his favorite tanks by tier, and we are playing tier 5. Um, this was probably my first tier 5, I'm not gonna lie, and this is probably my main moneymaker I used to get me to the low tiers because I didn't buy a premium tank until probably 4 or 5,000 games into World of Tanks. This does make a pretty decent little cash at tier 5, even though it's not premium. What do we have? Well, history-wise, essentially what this was a project I believe started in 1937 for a vehicle to assault fortified positions. Um, they took the chassis of the PZ-3 and they took the turret off, of course, and built a superstructure and mounted a gun on it. Um, the original gun, in this case here, was of course the 77.5. It was essentially a short gun. Let me see if I have it one here. Oh no, not that one. L43. They actually don't even have it on here anymore. Well, anyway, they had a short 75. I wonder if the OFS G. No, I wonder if the OFS B has it. Which would be this one, I believe. This was the original what the Stug looked like. This was a short 75mm, low velocity, high explosive gun. It was used to deal with fortifications and soft targets. However, by the time they started the war in Russia, it worked well against the BT series tanks, BT2, BT7, BT5, those kind of tanks. It would work fine, just fine. The HE shells didn't have a problem. It was when we started seeing KV1s and T-34s that the Germans are like, we have a problem here. Now, these tanks were kind of odd because they weren't really not considered tanks. They were considered somewhere between artillery. So they were kind of an odd distinction. They were also used, of course, in armored divisions later on in the war, but early on they were considered essentially artillery, so they were manned by artillery men. This, like I said, is the early version of what the Stug looked like. They eventually did mount several different versions. There was the 105 they mounted on the Stug. These, of course, like I said, all were assault cannons. They built a bunch of different. In fact, there was a version they mounted 150 millimeter howitzer on it for Stalingrad. Very adaptable machine. However, by the time they ended about 41, 42, they realized they could not build tanks fast enough, and these were a lot cheaper than building a PZ-3, and certainly much cheaper than a PZ-4. So they began to mount long 75 millimeter anti-tank guns on these tanks. In fact, this is the original historical gun, which is the L48, 75 millimeter L48. The Stug 3G, this was the last production model of the Stug, mounted once it was still mounted with the 75. What we have in game is, of course, the gun similar to the Panther, the medium tank. You'll see some design changes, specifically speaking when it comes to the gun mantlet. This is what they call the boar's head gun mantlet. You'll see the big block right here. This is probably as historical as we're ever going to get. Actually, the end Stug 4, we had the shields on the side for heat rounds, the sow head gun mantlet, and of course the 75 L48. So this machine right here is the actual historical Stug. This, of course, is the upgraded version of it. They built a ton of this. This was the second most produced armored vehicle for the Germans. it was what's impressive about this machine is that it killed more tanks than the Panther and the Tiger II and the Tiger I combined. This was extremely effective. A lot of times, what they would do with it, they didn't use it to assault, but they used it to hold flanks, and of course in the defense of an attack from the Russians. With the low silhouette, they were able to hide these tanks very well. Of course, with the limited traverse of the gun, they worked best for defending or holding. So a lot of times they would follow directly behind the tanks. As they took the ground, these things would move in position and set up essentially firing lines and waiting for any breakthroughs or pushbacks by the Russians. Of course, later on in the war, as the tank numbers dwindled for the Germans, these tanks became more prevalent, and they were used in the assault mode as well. Very successful tank. They never really had much for armor, but they never really needed this. These were hunters, ambushers. They ambushed from cover. After the war, they saw action in Syria. They were exported to a number of different countries. I believe it was Sweden or Switzerland. Maybe it was Finland. Still were using these tanks up into the early 1960s. So this, the design was definitely successful. So what do we have in game with this little monster? We have 135 average damage per shot, 50 average penetration at tier 5, 3.72 reload time, and 47.97 gun traverse speed, negative 7 degrees of gun depression. You can make it work with this little bugger. What really makes this tank is this gun. 1.56 aiming time, 0.3 dispersion, an average damage per minute of 2100. This thing is a little monster. Of course, it's somewhat eclipsed by the T-67, but, what are you going to do? That is the preferred tank at SEAL clubbing at tier 5. Go figure. 350 hit points, 80 millimeters of hull armor on the front, 30 on the side, 50 in the rear. Mobility is 25 tons actually, 440 engine power, 18.3 ton to horsepower ratio. Good camo, very good camo. You can definitely sit in a bush with this thing. That's actually how I kind of set up with here was the camouflage net, and of course the view range and the signal range. Not the greatest, but not too shabby. I typically run the camouflage net, and of course the improved ventilation and medium caliber tank gunner. This is a kind of switchable sometimes. Sometimes I put binocs or telescopic sights on here. This is a new crew, so I'm trying to get these crew to kind of trained up, and then I'll move them out. Once these skill crews crew skills built up, of course this thing really comes into its own with the view range, and of course when you get Sixth Sense and all that kind of stuff. Still one of my favorite tanks. I played it quite a bit. They lead to a couple great tanks. I know this used to be kind of considered the crap at tier 6, but it has ridiculous DPM with that 88, and of course the famous Jag Panther. Oh yeah, that is pretty, and this is what you really want to get to at tier 7. These two play styles are very similar to each other, the Jag Panther and the Stug 3. So something to look forward to. I still consider the Jag Panther probably the best tier 7 tank destroyer in the game, but yeah, that's just a preference thing. AP rounds, of course, is 150. APCR rounds are 194. So this thing does not have a problem dealing with tanks 2 tier higher than them. And that ridiculous reload time. Problem is, it does not carry a lot of ammo. Excuse me, I'm just getting way too late. It does not carry a lot of ammo, and this can actually end up being a problem. You'll see in the game what I'm talking about. You can burn through ammo pretty quick, very quickly actually. So be careful. Make sure you make your shots count. So time for the gameplay, and we can see what this thing can do. All right, back with the first game in the Stug 3G. Oh, it's so tasty. God, I love the look of this tank. This is probably, like I said, one of my favorite tanks. My first probably tier 5 tank when I was grinding out to try to get the Ag Tiger, because, you know, I was thinking German excellence, and then, you know, I was new to the game. I didn't know any better. Yeah, so Redshire, let's move up onto the hill. Let's see what we can do up here. You know, that glorious gun that this thing has. You know, and the one thing I know he's in the garages is, of course, this rather limited ammo on this tank, because it shoots so fast that you can run through ammo pretty quickly, way more than it needs to. Get up here on the hill, start looking around, see what I can find. Nope. Oh, here we go. So you got the VK up here. Let's see what Zwag is going to do. He takes a big one to the shorts. Pick up the first shell, 137. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And just a little outside. Don't get a finishing shot on him. Pull up here, see if I can get the VK. Where you at, buddy? Come on. Nope, nothing. And I'm looking here, see if I find the SU-100. Armor not penetrated. Newton, you lucky bastard. Looking around, we got chicken grease. Zwag's almost dead. Really don't have a whole lot over here on the flank with myself. Cromwell's sitting up around the hill. Crusader's doing a nice job of trying to keep things lit. We're going to see here, M4 and the Skoda both push up. So what are you fellas going to do? Pick up the Skoda, put a shell into him at 118. Unfortunately, he moves away. Kind of hoping he was going to poke his head outside that door, but he's a little wilier than that. Looking. Come on, SU-85, Cromwell. Oh, we got a T-34-85 coming. Oh, C-67. What are you guys doing? So we got 5 tanks over here at least. Fortunately, I wasn't paying attention to T-34-85. And, oh, can't get the M4. Come on, buddy. Back up. Oh, still hitting the wall. I know it's just a tight squeeze in there, but it should be nice to hit him. Hit him for 141. We are down 2-5. It's not looking good for the home team. 3-5. Oh, and I bounce off the ass of a 34-80. Another one. Yeah, lovely. So put another shell in the 34, and he's running. Got him 139. Doing a little bit better here. And put another shell into those guys. That actually did pen him. Now, there's just me and the T-67. So life is not good here. It's time to get on the move and get the hell out of here. So, on the run, I need to get back over here in a position where I can get into good cover, because we have 2, 4, 6 tanks currently pushing down the one line. We've kind of evened it up here a little bit, but unfortunately at this point these guys just don't really get it. You know, they keep pushing. 34, M4 A3 is coming back, so yeah, a little bit better here. So knock me some trees down. Panzer 3-4 goes through, and now I have me a Churchill with me. Oh, there we go. There's the M4. They're gonna have to really work if they want to take this cap. Wait for the pull in here and pick up the bullshit RNG shot on the M4. Knock him out. So hopefully they can destruct some of that stuff, but nope. Pick up the 34, put a shell into him. Come on, baby, one more. Pick up the no shell. One more ricochet, critical damage. Shit, I didn't get her done. So, looking at the M4, what else we got come running in here? Got the T67. And, oh yeah, we'll put a shell into you, buddy. Back up. And we'll see what we're going to see here. So, M4 is hiding back there. And I see the KV-1S coming. Oh, tasty. Show me your side, buddy. Put one shell into him. 2 shells into him. He doesn't seem to be aware of the fact that he's sitting out in the open here. T-67 moved up on the hill finally. There you are. Put a shell into him so we can finish him off. Oh, 44 says no, sir. Pick up the M4, and we were still down 9-11. This game was kind of a bullshit deal here. Pick the Skoda up, almost get him. Roll a little bit low, and we got the T-67. Run, buddy. Oh, first critical hit on him. No go. It's alright. One more into him. There we go. 123. Come on, can I get the kill? Finish him off. And we were still sitting at 10-11. So our south push, the 9-0 line, totally fucking screwed that one. Yeah. So, what are you going to do? KV-1S. Oh, he backs up. He looks like he's heading the opposite direction. This will be good for me. Pull up. There you are, buddy. To the back of the skull. One more to finish him off. Oh, armor not penetrated. Because, you know, Russians. So we got the Skoda. And we're just going to sit here and see what happens. I'm down to 7 shells left. This isn't good. There's 3 tanks, 2 finds. We're going to move around here. They pick up the Skoda, and I pick up the Chinook. So, I'm not going to wait here because I don't know the Su-85 was spotted down on that far end. So that means he probably hasn't traveled this far up here. And I have 2 artillery pieces in play yet, and the Churchill 3. So, I'm full health. I'm going to roll up here. You know, I'm probably going to take some damage, but hey, I got to get this thing rolling. Sitting there down just short of 2,000 damage. And we're going to roll up here and see what we can find. 44 is ready to fire. And we'll see here what we can find. Where you at, buddy? Where you at? Trees. Come on, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, there's the Chinook. He puts 1 shell into me. I put 1 into him. 99. Oh, grill finishes him off. Puts me up to almost 2,100. And now I have the SU and the grill to deal with here. So we'll push back over around the corner. On the run, grill stuns me. And yeah, let's roll. So now I have a Churchill with me. We have the 2 artillery pieces. And the game's a little bit better than what it was. About that time, here comes the Su-85. He puts a shell into the side of the Churchill. Churchill's just like, there's a red dot on the screen. What am I going to do? So I pull over here, try to get into some bushes because I want to make sure I don't get spotted by the SU. Or that wicked-ass grill. About that time, our grill and our M44 are like, fuck it. We've been in the corner too long. It's time to even up the score. So they're like, yeah, let's go. So on they roll, kind of waiting. Thought the Su-85 was probably going to be sitting around the corner over here, waiting. But lo and behold, there's the auto aim. Oh, hit the ground. Way to go, buddy. He hits me for 177. I hit him for 133. And one more, and I finish him off. Puts me up to 2306. Showing I actually ended up with just a little touch over 2,500 with those blind shots and them other tanks. Yeah, it was a pretty decent game in the old Stug. Pulled her out of retirement, dusted it off, greased up the tracks, and we were off and running. I forgot how good this thing is in its tier. That's actually really good against even 7s. Between its regular AP and its premium round, it has really no problem dealing with tier 7s. So, yeah, but of course it's a tank destroyer, and that's what you expect. So we're looking for the last grill. Maybe get a little bit more nom damage before game is over with. M44 in the grill there don't seem to be interested in setting up fire. They're just rolling. I'm assuming they're heading for cap. They're going to pick up their cap points. Churchill's he's a little bit brighter than your average puppy. He takes the cut across over to the 1-2 line to make sure the grill doesn't circle back around. Nothing over here. Come on, where are you at? I got 3 shells left, so by rights I should be able to kill him if I do run into him. M44 is hanging out. He's on the cap. Grill's almost the cap. I got a minute 26 to find him. Churchill's got him kind of, or should have him cut off by now if that grill hadn't already run. I should have gone down and checked like the K9 corner down there with the grill and see where he was at. But I didn't, so it is what it is. 20 seconds left. I ended up with a high caliber ace tanker and all that kind of stuff with just a little bit over 2,500 damage and 152 spotting assisted damage. Worked out pretty decent. The next game, though, had a decent game, but once again, I kind of didn't pull it off like I should have. So, hope you guys enjoyed the first gameplay, and I got one more for you guys to check out. So, all right, back with the second game in the Stug 3. If you've ever played with me or know I played with me or been around me, they know I don't play to. I play to win every game. And unfortunately, this is one of those games where I play a little too hard to win. Alright, so we're on the new Map Glacier Sweden, they call it, I guess. That's at least what the files call it. But it's actually called Glacier. I don't know why Wargaming does what they do. So, I'm going to move on over in here to this area where, generally speaking, I think this is where going to be most of the TD action is going to be used. Here on this nice little ridge here, we got some tree cover. I thought about moving up into the up onto the road here, so I'm just gonna move up in here. There's lots of nice cover up in here for TDs. It's amazing the number of people that will journey down this century here. Pick up the Panzer IV-H right off the bat, put a shell into him, critical hit him, and he's finished off. So, got a little bit of damage right off the pad here. They got the PZ-3J, and of course the Lukes and the PZ-38N going up into the top of the carrier up there. This is still, I think, kind of a learning map. KV2, M3 Lee. They're taking the short way around. Not good for the home team. So I'm looking here to see if I can find something. Pick up the M6 coming around the corner. Put the first shell out and dirt. Nothing but dirt. Alright, let's see what we can find here. Sherman 3 destroys my M3 Lee. Not surprising, but what are you going to do? Unfortunately, he's actually going to get wrecked on the deal. Put a shell into the Sherman 3. And we're going to look here and see what we can find. Type 58, T67, it's killed the KV2. That's not surprising either, you know, because why not drive your heavy tank into the thing here? Oh, what do we got here? It's like a smorgasbord M6. So back up a little bit here to make sure I get some cover. And I'm just going to start putting shells into the M6. Pick up another pretty good damage roll on him and finish him off. However, we are sitting at 3-6. 3-7, I'm sorry. It is not looking good for the home team once again. So, kind of looking, what are we going to do here? 2 T67s. The Matilda Black Brent sitting down here in the corner. This is a hard camp map. The few times I've played it here now. Anytime there's a remote amount of TDs on either side, which is just a fair amount in this game. 2, 4, 6, 7 on each side. Half the team is TDs. Go figure. Makes it a little difficult to really move around this map. So I pull in here. I'm expecting to see some stuff. We got the Stug G coming across here. SU-85. He's on the run. See if I can pick him up. Oh, finish him off. Yeah, so we're bringing it back. 4-7. It's looking a little bit better here. The other Stig 3G shows up. He takes a nice bop to it. SU-85 moves up. I'm not sure why we had the Shrev still back at base. Yeah, there's a lot of camping and sniping on here. About that time, I know the IKV just decides to lose their shit, heads off to the side, can't pick up the Stug. But what do we got here? Oh, there we go. Pick up the IKV. Pick up another shell onto him. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Pick up one to the bottom. And that's not good. So I know he's down there. See if we can finish him off. Can't quite do it. Pick up the PZ3 coming in. Doesn't roll high enough to finish him. IKV fucked himself. We got to do something here. It's 7-9. Kind of getting close here. We picked up to 8-9 right now. The Strev's sitting there. PZ3J. He figured out, obviously, where I was sitting at. And what do we got coming on over here? PZ3N. PZNA. The Strev finishes him off. We got the Stug 3 over here. And the PZ3J. Alright, so we've kind of farmed it back into even score here. And it's not looking too shabby here. So I'm going to go give this guy a assist. PZ3J is almost dead. I'm not sure what the Stug 3G is at. But we need to start finishing these two tanks off so we can give our other side a little bit of help here. Unfortunately, IKV 65 has moved so far up that we don't have much choice here. So the Stug 3G is full health. This push over here should never have happened until this side was clear, but they don't seem to care. Strev drops down. Let's start looking at the PZ3J. That's alright, because I'm having a feeling the Stug is going to be rolling right over here. So I'll move over into my next set of bushes, and unfortunately it's got kind of a little bit of a hump, and I'm not quite able to get up over on top of it. Pick up the Stug 3, put a nice 154 into him, put another shell into him. He rolls high with 167, and the Strev finishes him off. We got to give this to the PZ3J. It is sitting 11-11 right now. Matilda BP and the T67. Fortunately, they have a Martyr 38T and a 67 still sitting over there. So they're out of our draw range, so I'm going to move on down in here and get the PZ3J's attention. Strev moves over and picks up the kill. Teddy bear, teddy bear, teddy bear, teddy bear. I don't know what teddy bear's problem is. He was, I think, going to assist me a little bit here, but it didn't work out quite that way. Unfortunately, the IK65T would have stayed alive. This would have been infinitely easier to win this game. Yeah, so I'll move on over in here. I'm going to try to give some support to these guys as best I can. 67 and Matilda Black Prince are both full health, and they've moved up into a position where it's not really the best for our team. The T67 is running, T58 is sitting here waiting, and now they're starting to work over the Matilda. So I come around the corner, and I don't quite get the shot in on him. I was thinking maybe he probably didn't see me sitting there. He was behind that bush, so I'm hoping that he did not spot me when he was pulled out. However, these two, almost full health tanks. I've got the Strev here. It's kind of a waiting game. This is not really a great position to be moving into on 2 TDs. So we're up 12-11. I'm going to sit here and wait for the 3485M to show up. The Strev pulls, yeah, I'm not terribly sure what this is about. Going across open water is never a good idea on a map that's somewhat similar to yeah, I don't know. Shit. So the 38T picks him up. I move over and see if I can pick up the 38T. Nothing. They kill the Black Prince. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. This guy moves up too. What's happening here? What happened here? We got way too pushy. So I'll put a shell out there, hoping the 38T was moving, but he doesn't. Teddy Bear's in a pretty bad position here right now. There's not a whole lot I can do because I'm not going to pull that up like the Strev by running across there. Pick up the Type 58 coming across. See if I can pick up one in the rear. Can't quite get him in the back of the skull. He's moved up past into the deal. Type 67 finishes him off. So this is where it kind of get kind of dodgy. Sitting at about 1700 showing. And we're going to move over here and we're going to take this a little bit easier than the Strev did. You know, you always want to be looking for cover when you're trying to move here. So almost fall off the cliff because you know, fucking reasons. I swear some days I'm just I think I'm half I just don't pay attention. So moving on up. Come on. So what I'm looking for here is, of course, a way to get across here with some cover. If I get underneath those cliffs, I'll be doing a lot better. So move across the ice. Got me a big ass rock in the way, and a general idea that they've probably moved into the back. I can take a hit from either one of them. It's going to be a little bit easier for me to do that. However, Teddy, he's fucked. He's only got 25% left, and he's hiding behind the rock. So now what I was thinking here was I was going to try to pull up in here and see what I could do with the T-67 sitting there. I'm looking kind of around here. I wasn't terribly sure. I had a feeling they were probably going to be sitting right over here somewhere. So I'm going to try to pull up here and see what I can do. And obviously, if I'm going into the cap is not even an option, because I was thinking they were probably sitting right up here in the corner. So I pull up, kind of. Unfortunately, Teddy is not really paying attention here, and I get shot by the Marauder 38T is sitting somewhere in that bush. By that time, Teddy Bear, who was kind of out of position, didn't have a really good shot on the other 67 when he poked up. Unfortunately, that doesn't end well. This is the problem with this map. TDs kind of rule, and they pick up the kill on him. So, 1689 showing, I actually ended up with a little bit over 1800, 1842 to be exact, with a couple of them blind shots. So